you sitting on the front row.
Is that okay?
Yes, it's just so rare people get close to me. It's like, oh my God. So I try to wear extra nice cologne or something, you know. All right, hey, mighty companions online. I'm Earl Purdy. Want to thank you for coming to A Course in Miracles here on Facebook Live. And I'm getting a chance to talk about what I love to talk about more than anything on earth, which is A Course in Miracles. And A Course in Miracles is a course in how to see things differently, how to see things correctly, how to see things in such a way that you don't give your peace away. Do you know that the course says if you can keep your peace, you can hear your guidance? That people don't hear their guidance because they're thinking their thoughts, and he says because they are in a lot of fear and conflict. And when you're in fear and conflict, you can't hear the voice of truth. Kind of explains our world. Right, kind of explains why things seem to be the way they are. People are listening to themselves, and they're following their guidance, but they're not actually following the guidance of their higher self. And so we've been talking about how you can we've been doing this section called the Holy Spirit's curriculum, and which is love's curriculum. And let's make it practical. We are learning how a loving mind would judge things, and how you can tell when you're around a loving mind, and when you're around somebody that has a sane mind and a peaceful mind, and what's the curriculum that love is giving us? What's the curriculum that Holy Spirit, which is love, is giving us? So this section. We're going to start on page 217 in the text, in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. And we're going to be on page 217. And we're going to be on paragraph 8 at the top of the page. And I'm also going to give a lot of clues for those of you who are watching and those of you who are here on how you can read the Course in Miracles and make the Course in Miracles a lot easier to read. Because the miracles that the Course in Miracles promises, the miracles that the Course in Miracles is promising, those miracles only happen primarily with people that read the book. I'll say it again. The miracles that the Course in Miracles talks about happen primarily with people that I've found in 50 years of teaching it, that actually are trying to attempt to read the book. Because that's the same as saying people who are trying to read the recipe book are much more likely to bake the cake. So it's no sense thinking you're going to get all of the benefits that the Course in Miracles is teaching and you don't study the Course in Miracles itself, even though it can be helpful to come to a lecture, to come to a class. But if you're talking about serious positive change in yourself and really getting to that peace that the Course is talking about, then that means that the Course says you have to give whatever you are focused in on some attention and study. Okay. So from here on out, my class is going to be primarily focused on really getting deep into what the Course in Miracles is teaching and really helping people who are trying to study the Course and learn the Course and do the Course itself. And I totally welcome anybody that's just dropping in to check things out, because what happens when a person gives it their attention is they really start to have situations and circumstances change in their life for the better that they've been dealing with for a long time. And it also says you have to take it slow. So, and it's only talking about love and fear. So I'm going to do it in plain language also. So that very first sentence says, by applying the Holy Spirit's interpretation of the reactions of others more and more consistently. So what is the Holy Spirit's interpretation of others? That they're either what? Expressing love or call for love. That's the only thing that's happening in the world, that people are expressing love or they're expressing a call for love. what's going on in Iran, what's going on in Israel, what's going on in the United States, what's going on in Haiti, what's going on all over the world, we're only seeing people expressing love, or we see people calling for love and calling for help and calling for healing, calling for love, calling for help, calling for healing. That's all your friends are doing. Your friends are either expressing sanity and love, or your friends are calling for love, calling for help, calling for healing. They could be doing it in the form of cursing you out. They could be calling for love in the form of stealing from you. They could be calling for love in the form of losing their temper. They could be calling for love in the form of having an illness or a sickness or a lack. They could be robbing someone. It's a call for love. It's a call for help. It's a call. They feel guilty. It's a call for love, and that's true for you. So the Course says that that's love's interpretation. That's God's interpretation. That's the Holy Spirit's interpretation of what's going on in the world. Now, is that always my interpretation? No. I don't always see everything that's going on in the world as somebody calling for love and calling for my help. You know how I see it sometimes? As an attack. So, by applying that interpretation that it's a call for love, the Course says, if you do that more and more consistently, see what everybody else that you know is doing as a call for love, he says, then you are going to gain not a regular awareness, but an increasing awareness that the Holy Spirit's criteria are equally applicable to you. If I see what you're doing as a call for love, and I call what you do as a call for help, and if I call what you do as a call for healing, then I'm going to believe when I act crazy and I act selfish and I'm angry and I'm upset and I'm mad, that's my call for help. That's my call for love. I believe that more and more as I do what? As I see what you are doing. And it says I need to see it that way. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to feel it that way. I'm to see it that way, but it doesn't mean I'm going to necessarily feel it that way. So, now, to recognize fear is not enough to escape from fear. Recognizing what you're afraid of is not enough to escape what you're afraid of. So what is fear? Well, fear is a call for love. So when the Course says recognize your fear, it's not saying recognize your fear of spiders. It's saying recognizing fear would be you recognizing that when someone's afraid and when you are afraid, you're calling for help. You're calling for help. You're calling for healing. You're calling for love. So recognizing fear is interpreting fear correctly. So that's a different take on recognizing fear. So until I start to see all the crazy stuff I see on the news as a call for love and a call for help, then I haven't recognized what it is yet. When I hear about wars, if I don't see it as a call for help, a call for healing, I don't recognize what's happening in Israel until I recognize it as a call for help, a call for love, a call for healing. Okay, everybody, have I lost anybody yet? Okay, not yet. Yeah, give me a little time. Give me a little while.
Almost.
Yeah, almost there. Almost there. So recognizing fear isn't enough to escape from it, but why do you need to recognize fear? Because then you recognize it's necessary to escape from it. Recognizing fear is not enough to escape from it, but what recognizing fear does is it makes you aware you need to escape from it. You know, if I recognize the snake in the middle of the road, that's not necessarily enough to escape from the snake, but seeing the snake makes me aware that I have a need to escape from the snake. See the difference? First you got to recognize, but that's not enough for you to escape, but it is making you aware you need to escape it. So the Holy Spirit must still translate your fear into the truth. So love has to translate my fear take me from fear to recognizing the truth. I'm afraid, I need to recognize the love. I'm afraid, I need to recognize the truth. Now remember, you're agreeing with what the Course is saying doesn't have anything to do with whether or not what the Course is saying is true. Please understand that. You and I are not the arbiters of what is true. So something isn't true unless you agree with it is not true is a totally egotistical, arrogant perception of things. That everything's got to be the way you see it or it's wrong. Actually, when you start to wake up spiritually, you'll be hoping and praying that most of the ways you see things are wrong. Especially if you're a depressed, angry, fearful person, then you really need to hope nothing that you think is true from a Course perspective. And that's what Spirit made me aware of recently. It says this curriculum was made for you, and it was made for other people who also, this is their curriculum. But make no mistake about it, this curriculum is not for everybody. All curriculums are tailor-made and customized. Your path is your path. Your path is your path. And there's no one else that has exactly the same kind of path that you have in every way. So don't compare your path to somebody else's path and then maybe change what you know you should do because of what they're doing. So don't put anything that I'm saying or anything that the Course in Miracles is saying before the feeling and truth of your own being. Okay, let's be clear about that. All right, so what's going to happen then, if a person is afraid, then love is going to translate that into what the truth is. And the truth is love is the only thing that's real. So I'm afraid, get this, I'm afraid I program my mind that my fear is a call for love, a call for help, a call for healing, a call for help, a call for help. My mind creates my reality. Your mind creates your reality. Your mind creates your reality. Your thinking creates your reality. Your thinking creates your reality. Your thinking creates your reality. Everything that you're experiencing is coming from your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs. Everything you are experiencing is coming from you. Everything that you are experiencing is coming from you. Everything that you're going through is coming from you. Everything is coming from you. Everything is coming from you. There are two parts to your mind. One part of your mind is full of fear and separation. Another part of your mind is full of love and sanity. There's a part of your mind that's crazy as hell, and there's a part of your mind that is absolutely conscious and sane. There are two parts to your mind. There are two parts to your mind, and this applies to the people to who it applies to. Okay? Right? I want everybody to know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the ones that say, okay, yeah, I get that. Okay? Now, that means that there's a part of your mind that's projecting all the hell and the fear that you think you're going through, and there's a part of your mind that's projecting all the love and the sanity and the peace that you're going through. So how do you heal your mind? You see, the insane, fearful part of your mind is calling for love, calling for help, and calling for healing. Calling for love. The crazy Earl is calling for sanity. The crazy Earl is calling for love. The crazy Earl is calling for peace. The crazy Earl is calling the things that he has lack. He's calling for abundance. Crazy Earl is calling for love and calling for help. Sane Earl is creating and projecting the help and the love and the peace and the joy. Also, so there's a part of you that is completely, totally sane, and actually it's the bigger part of you. But if your physical reality is reflecting fear back to you, upset back to you, guilt back to you, then that's the part of your mind that you are focused in that's calling for help, calling for help, calling for help, calling for help, calling for help. So there's a part of me that's calling for love, and there's a part of me that's expressing love, calling for love, 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 expressing love. What's the common denominator?
Love.
Love. So you're hearing love, 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 love all day long. Love, 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 love. Thought is created. Thought is created. Thought is created. Thought is created. Love, love. So what do you think you are going to start to see and manifest in your life?
Love.
What?
Love.
Yeah. Because all you thinking about is love or a call for love. Love or a call for love. So when I see crazy, fearful people that I project upset and anger on, I go, you great big call for love.
Yeah.
I see some crazy stuff on the news and I'm like, oh, that's a call for love. You mean you hit somebody and drove away? That's a big old call for love. See what I'm doing? I'm recognizing fear, and I'm demonstrating my need to escape because I want to think another way. And that's how I escape. I escape through seeing it just the opposite. The one thing that unhappy people who choose to stay in unhappiness, that saying I just read the other day, which said, the once you know better and you don't do it, then you have to admit that your staying in that situation is just a choice. See, the once I tell you the once you're told how to get out of a situation and you still continue to do the stuff that you've been doing, then it's really obviously that now you're at the level of choice. You're just choosing to keep on doing it the way you're doing it, even though it doesn't work. And this is a choice. One of the challenges with the Course is that if a person doesn't understand truly its way of expressing, it can sound negative. And so a lot of times people shy away from the Course because they say stuff like, you got hate. You want to kill somebody. You're angry. See, a lot of times people think that's you're not being positive, but actually what it's doing is making you aware of what fear makes happen. That's what fear does. But you can't get rid of, I can't avoid a boulder in the middle of the path that I'm not willing to look at. If I put my hands on my eyes as I walk toward the boulder and then say that I'm being negative to look at it, I'm going to walk right smack dab into the boulder and hurt myself. But if I can see the ego, if I know what fear looks like, but not dwelling on it, not making it my goal, then I can just go around the boulder. But pretending it's not there, which is the difference between being positive because you're willing to lean in the direction of love and truth and spirit, and you being positive in total denial of what's going on inside of you. That's two different things. So the Course says, if you were left with the fear, once you had recognized the fear, you would have taken a step away from love in reality, not towards it. So if I make you recognize your fear, but then I leave you in it, then the truth is you're even more afraid. I said again, if I bring up all your subconscious stuff that you are afraid of, and if I do that, but I leave you with that fear, with that anger, with that upset, then I've actually taken a step away from the love. Because now you're even more afraid. So why make you aware of what you need to see differently if I'm going to leave you in that state of mind? So recognizing your fear without having it healed is a step that's even further away, because the reason why many people experience happiness is because of the big D word. And what is the D word? Denial. Some people are happy just because they're in denial about what it is they're really feeling on the inside, and they hide it and they repress it. So if I make you aware of the stuff that you're repressing and then just leave you with it, then you're even more upset than you were when you were in denial. So like that movie Matrix, the dude said, I want to go back to the dream. I want to be in total denial about what's really going on. But in the end, who saw that movie? In the end, what he learned was he was the creator. And then once he recognized that, he took total control of everything around him and nothing could hurt him. So really the answer was him remembering who he really was. And that's what the Course in Miracles is teaching us. That every problem you think you have is an identity problem. It's you not knowing that you're a spirit, that you're a creator, that you're a consciousness, that you're powerful. That's your problem. Could you imagine God, worried about his or her credit score? Or could you imagine that you are so special that you could have a problem that the Creator couldn't solve? That's too special. You got something that's so intense that nothing, the highest, most infinite intelligence of the universe, can't solve your problem. That's specialness. That's just an attempt to be special, an attempt to be special in a negative way. So we repeatedly, notice the word he says, repeatedly emphasize the need to what? Recognize fear, and then step 2 is face it without disguise. That's a crucial step in the undoing of your ego. So a crucial step in undoing your fear, a crucial step in undoing your separation is what? Recognizing fear What is recognizing fear? It's what? Love or a call for love. Then face it without disguise. What does that mean? I'm going to see it as love and a call for love. That way it's not disguised. I see you're upset, darling. I see that you are angry right now. That's a big call for love. And I'm going to face it. That's what it is, that you're not trying to attack me. You don't really mean to attack me. You're afraid right now. You believe you're going to lose. And so what you're really doing is calling for my help. Well, that's actually recognizing your fear and facing it. See, the ego, wrong mind, is going to tell you that that statement is something to be afraid of. Yet recognizing fear and facing, oh my God, I got to recognize my fear and face it. No, that's not the correct interpretation from a Course in Miracles perspective. From a Course in Miracles perspective. From a Course in Miracles perspective. Facing your fear is recognizing it's your call for help and your call for love. Facing it without disguise is you not being fooled by the form that the call is coming in. I'm not fooled. You're angry. That's the form of your call. But I'm not going to be fooled by that. I'm going to recognize you're calling for help. So facing it without disguise is you being able to recognize all the things you see in the paper or that you see in the news that seem to be fearful and unloving. They're really huge calls for God, huge calls for help. That's recognizing fear and facing it. Let me know if you're still somewhere around the neighborhood of where I am talking. Everybody else still? All right. Okay. All right. Now, and I hope you're following in the book. Then it says, recognizing fear and facing it without disguise is a crucial step in the undoing of your ego. The Course defines the ego as your fearful thought. Your ego is the part of you that thinks it's separate. That's your ego. It's the part of you that feels guilt or anger or fear or separation. What is your ego? I'm going to give you a lot of Course in Miracles definitions of the ego. The ego is the part of you that thinks it's a woman. The ego is the part of you that thinks you're a man. The ego is the part of you that thinks you're anything else that you think you are. Did they cover everybody? Okay. So Earl Purdy, technically speaking, is an ego. Because Earl Purdy thinks that he's a separate person from you all. So just by me thinking that I'm separate from you, I know that I'm looking at you through my ego right now. So I don't care how nice I'm talking, you're still primarily talking to a person that still is capable of fear, anger, guilt, and grievances. Am I alone? Don't leave me out here hanging out dry. Am I alone? Do you sometimes have those feelings and emotions? Okay. Thank you. Because it's impossible to feel guilty around people who are just like you. I said it again. It's impossible to feel really guilty around somebody who's just like you. That's why criminals can share about their crimes with each other and laugh and talk and play cards. Because they see themselves as the same. So if you agree that you are also capable of the same emotions that I go through, and I agree that I'm capable of feeling the same emotions that you go through, we join. We feel more connected. But if you come off like you got it all together and everybody else doesn't, then that creates a feeling of separation. And I don't think it's too big of a stretch to say that we all have the gamut of emotions that I just described. They come up from time to time. So now you know what they are. He says, for those of you who, again, following along, he says, consider how well the Holy Spirit's interpretation of the motives of others will serve you then. Having taught you to accept only loving thoughts in others, I'm going to only accept loving thoughts in others. I'm going to only accept loving thoughts in others. I'm going to only accept loving thoughts in others. And I'm going to regard everything else as an appeal for help. Everything except for love is an appeal for help. Who can tell me why I'm repeating this over and over again?
Wake us up.
Yeah, think about it, especially if you've been coming over the last several weeks. Think about how many times you've heard me say this. Okay? Now, I want you to be honest with yourself. Be honest. How many times in the last week have you said that when something came up that upset you? Look around the room. Nobody's hand is up. So that's why we repeat it. Because you repeat it until you hear it and accept it as true. So that's why I call myself the divine repetition teacher. I call myself the remembering coach. See, my job is to help people remember the answers that we're already being given. My job is not to analyze the course. My job is to deliver a message and help me hear it and help everybody else hear it. So what is it that we need to remember? That to recognize fear is for me to recognize it's a call for help and a call for love. What's going to be the benefit of that? Then I'm going to start seeing what I do as a call for help and a call for love. What happens if I start seeing what I do as a call for help and a call for love? I'll forgive myself faster, and I'll feel more compassion and love for myself. So what happens when I start to feel more compassion and love for myself? If my thoughts create my reality, I will start creating a world where there's more love and more compassion for me in it. So that means that when I feel afraid and I act a fool, instead of people attacking me for that, I'm going to attract people that say, can I help you? Oh, it looks like you're really troubled right now. Is there anything I can do for you? See, it used to be when I was angry and in my ego and attacking people, that they would want to attack me back. But since Spirit trained me to see anger and attack as a call for help and a call for love, then when I go through my periods of fear, I draw compassionate people to me. And that's the advantage of what I'm saying. So if you're not willing to do it, it's because you don't believe you deserve to be helped. And you don't believe you deserve to have compassion when you go through your fear and anger and upset. So that's why the Course says that's why people don't want to do it. Not because they don't think so much the other person doesn't deserve the help, but they don't think they do. And if you have compassion and understanding, then you're going to get compassion and understanding. And if I'm a person who doesn't believe I deserve to be have compassion and understanding because I don't love myself the way I should, then I'm not going to do the things that's going to get people to be loving and compassionate with me. Because I don't deserve it. I don't love myself yet. Let me know. Are you with me? Anybody still in the neighborhood with me? Anybody still in the neighborhood with me? Yes. Okay. All right. I'm Mr. Rogers. Yeah. Yes. I'm the black Mr. Rogers. I'm Mr. Bubba.
Oh, are you black?
Yeah, my body is. My body is. Some people think about my body and they relate to the color of my body, which is the most ridiculous thing. You talking about an unconscious person? That's a racist. To me, the racist is the stupidest, most unconscious, ignorant part of myself. You're just going to not like me because my skin is brown. You're the stupidest thing walking the earth. But that's a call for love. Yep. That's a call for help. That's a call for healing. But I'm not going to, so I say it like this. You got a call for help, a call for love, and a call for healing, and it takes the form of you being a racist. Not only that, I have a call for love, a call for help, and a call for healing because I'm seeing my own racist past. What? Wait a minute. What? Yeah, I can only see my past. Of course, if you only see your past, everything you look at is your past. Everything you look at is your past. Everything you look at is your past. Whatever you see, you're looking at the past. You're always looking at your past. You're always looking at your past. So if I see the past, I see the racist, of course I must have been that way at one time. Whatever I'm looking at, I've been. Wow. Wow. What y'all think about that?
It's a trip.
Is it a trip?
Yeah.
Yeah. How else could you recognize it? How else could you know how it felt?
It's had to have happened.
It had to happen to you. How can you call me selfish unless you have some idea what selfish feels like and look like? How can you call me racist unless you know what that is? So it isn't about debating whether or not I've been that way. What's important is for me to call it a call for love, a call for help, and a call for healing. See, that's what's important. Not debating about whether I'm a racist or not, but to see it as an appeal for help. And the reason why I've been covering this so much for so long is because if we can pull this off, we will, thank you, darling. If we can pull this off, we'll see a total transformation in all our relationships, all of our relationships, all of them. Is that worthwhile to you?
Yes.
Would you be willing to have that happen in an easier way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you like to have it happen in an easier way than you trying to talk to that person and convince them to change in some way?
Yes.
That's the slow way, you all. The slowest way in the world is to try to talk to somebody through their ego and your ego. Mm-hmm. And I give it up. I'm telling you. Let me give you a tip after all these years. You want to bypass their ego. Okay. You want to bypass the part of them that's full of that anger and that fear and that judgment. You don't even want to engage that part of them at all. Because that part of them can't hear nothing you saying no way. You're just wasting your breath when you try to talk to a person when they're mad. You're just wasting your time when you're trying to talk to a person when they're upset.
And it feels bad.
And it feels horrible. Right? So stop. What? Stop. What you want to do anyway? You know you didn't even feel like talking to them in the first place. You forcing yourself to call them up on the phone. You really don't want to talk to them when you're mad and they're mad. But your mind might be telling you you should. Instead of you doing what you want to do, you're trying to do what you should do. And the course has already said, when you behave the way you think you should, without really wanting to, what does it say? It makes you feel more fear and conflict. So if I call you up and I don't really want to, I'm not really doing anything but making myself more upset. That's different. That's different. So then he goes on to say, this is what recognizing fear really means. So you notice I said that earlier. So I'm telling you, I'm not making this up. This isn't Earl Purdy giving you Earl Purdy's wisdom. I'm a living three-dimensional message. So it's right there on the page. It says, the Holy Spirit has taught you that fear itself is an appeal for help. That's what recognizing fear really means. If you don't protect it, the Holy Spirit will reinterpret it. If you're willing to let go of your way of looking at things, then the divine in you will be happy to give you the right way to look at things. If you're willing to let go of the way you're looking at things when you're feeling fear and upset, then Holy Spirit, your loving, sane mind, will give you the correct way to look at it. Okay? So what is attack? A call for love. What is attack? A call for love. Why am I saying that over and over again? Because it's not until we get it through repetition that we'll start to practice it. How do we know we still need to hear it over and over again? By your own admission, you didn't do it many times during the week. So I've heard this before. It's not the same as I'm doing it. So sometimes people mistake hearing something as they're doing it. But guess what? If you were doing it, how would you know? You would have said something that happened this past week was a call for love. And if that didn't happen, you ain't doing it. So it could be, it would work, but you're just not doing it.
Yep.
Why are you not doing it? Who's been listening enough to be able to tell me what I said was the reason why you're not doing it? I give you a hint. Self-value. What? Okay, I give you a hint. Self-value.
Self-value.
Okay, so why aren't you doing it?
Self-value.
Right. It will give me help. It will make love come to me. It will bring more peace and abundance into my life. But then the mind would go, well, why am I not doing it? Well, obviously there's a part of you that doesn't want you to have peace and love and abundance. What's the name of that part of you? The ego. The Course just calls it the ego. I call it easing good out. E-G-O, or easing God out. The part of me that wants to ease God out. Ease love out. Ease my abundance out. That was one of the things that, that Abraham was saying yesterday when I went to that seminar over and over and over again. It was trying to get people to understand that over and over and over again, that it's like the Course, that you deserve miracles and you deserve love and you deserve abundance and you deserve all the good things that life have to offer just because you exist. Mm-hmm. Not because of anything you do. Exactly. And everybody thinks that they have to prove their value to themselves before it's okay for them to have something. And the Course and all these truth teachers keep saying, you are totally priceless. You are totally valuable because you were created by God. You were created by love because of who you are. Now, you might have had situations and circumstances when you were coming up that made you feel unworthy in some way. I don't know anybody personally in my years of being on the planet who had enlightened parents. I mean, I'm not saying there are not enlightened parents out there, but I've never met a person who told me they had a totally enlightened parent. Totally enlightened. So that means that they were doing the best they could based on their past and what they've learned and what they've gone through. And then that helped form your image of yourself and your idea about yourself. So a lot of people grew up with ideas of themselves as being stupid, unworthy, and unloved. But that doesn't mean that's true. So if I'm going to be in a special love relationship, if I'm going to be in a relationship with somebody, they're going to damn sure be somebody that's helping me remember my value, and I'm going to be helping them remember their value. I don't have 5 minutes to be with a person that's judging me, condemning me, and not being loving to me. Because if I do that with somebody, I'm saying I have no value, and they're saying I have no value. So they're not helpful. The Course in Miracles says the only thing that's valuable is what's helpful. So are you helping me remember the love that I am? Or are you helping me forget the love that I am? Are you helping me remember that I'm innocent? Or are you helping me believe that I'm guilty? If you're helping me, the Course says this, if a person is trying to make you feel guilty, you're trying to make, that's the enemy. If there was going to be a such thing as an enemy would be anybody that's putting the guilt trip on you. An enemy is anybody that's putting the guilt trip on you. An enemy is anybody that's putting the guilt trip on you, who's trying to manipulate you using anger and guilt. Somebody that's trying to... Now why would you use the word enemy? Doesn't that sound like a very strong word? Yeah, then that'll get your attention. That's why the Course uses very strong. Have you ever seen a hospital movie and where somebody was in such bad shape they had to do the shock thing? They said, step back, we're going to shock them to get their heart beat. It's us! That's people in the world who've forgotten our oneness and the truth. They create shock therapy for each other. And that shock therapy takes the form of all the tragedies that looks like it's going on in the world. That's shock therapy, trying to wake our butts up. It really is like the universe is like saying, will you all wake up? And everybody going, la, 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 la. You know, and it's great that you're an eternal, immortal being. Isn't that great? You are an eternal, immortal being. Do you know what that means? It means you will continue to exist after your body dies. You will continue to exist after your body dies. You're going to lay your body down, and you're going to continue to exist, and you're going to recreate your next experience based on the level of consciousness you're on. So what you take with you is your consciousness, your awareness, what you've learned. That's what you don't take a car, a house, nothing. You don't take anything physical with you other than the evolutionary state that you're in as a result of your spiritual awakening. That's what you take with you. And that projector is going to create whatever your next physical experience is going to be. Wow. Wow. I remember growing up as a black kid in the South wondering why I was born black, because it seemed like it sucked. So I thought God hated me, and I thought God hated black people because of the segregation and oppression and all that stuff it looked like. All right, so I went, God must not love you. So I hated the color of my own friggin' skin because I felt like I was being mistreated as a result of something I had no control over. And I was seeing it every day. I was going to the back of the bus. I was drinking out of a separate water fountain. I wasn't seeing no black people on TV except acting like Stephen Fetchit, Bates, or whatever. So it was like nothing. I wasn't in the paper. I wasn't on the magazine back in those days. I wasn't on the television. So I was like, my whole reality was teaching me I had no value and I didn't even friggin' exist. And so I would go in the backyard as a kid and go, God, what is up? Why in the world would you put me in this body? Because it seems so unjust and so unfair. And this boy said to me, you were a black slave owner in your past life.
Oh.
So what? You were a slave owner. And now you're coming back to give yourself this experience to see what it's like to be on the other side. Because when you reap what you sow, what you give out is what you receive. And you chose to have this experience because, oh, by the way, why did your mother and father seem like they divorced and didn't get along? Well, that was the kind of husband you were. Everything you're meeting is nothing but, like Edgar Cayce always says, it's a law of cause and effect. You're always meeting your own past, but you're not trapped in it. That's the thing. So, and by letting you know what you chose to go through, you can choose another way, and so you don't have to be trapped in it. And the color of your skin doesn't have to make any difference about how you're being treated if your consciousness is a consciousness of love and truth and spirit. So most of the support that I've gotten since I've been a teacher for 50 years has been 90%, even in the South, white bodies. Now notice I was brought up to see white bodies as my oppressors and the ones who most have limited me. So you see the switch? It's like, bam. Just like we always said, the people you see as enemy actually could end up being the greatest blessings in your life, depending on how you look at it. So as long as I got into metaphysics and new thoughts because I wanted to get in touch with laws of manifestation that would operate regardless of the color of your skin or your race or your gender or your sex. That's why I got into metaphysics and new thought. New thought was because of racism. Like everybody have these noble reasons as to why they got into truth. I got into truth because I got sick of being judged by the color of my skin. And if there was any way I could change my mind and use universal laws that work regardless of your race, then I wanted to learn what those was. It wasn't a noble cause to save the world when I first got into it. That's why, whether it's women saying they can't have their experience because they're women, or black folk or white folk, or anybody playing victim consciousness at any level, any race, they are fooling themselves about the power of who they really are, and they're innocent, and that's their call for love. So some people be mad just hearing me say this. You bashing the victim. No, you're hurting the victim by seeing the victim as a victim and seeing them as somebody that has no power to change their experience. You're the one that's hurting them, not me. I'm the one saying they're powerful beings who've forgotten that they're powerful beings, who need to be helped remember that they're powerful beings so they can start choosing to get out of the situations and circumstances that's causing them pain. So no, I'm not the enemy. You're the enemy if you see them as victims. That's not the same as saying don't have compassion. It's not the same as, because you are having compassion if you say it's a call for love. That is you having compassion for the victim if you say that's a call for help. But remember, if you're getting a way out of something and you're being given a way to be free and you choose not to use it, now what you're going through is a conscious choice. So you're the one that's deciding to stay in that situation and circumstance. And people who love you, and it's the problem with love, people who love you are going to let you be. If you choose to continue to do the thing that's not giving you any peace and you're being told how to get past that, then as the person who loves you, I'm going to respect your decision. And I'm going to let you have that situation. Because there was a way out, and it was a way that was tailor-made to you, that could reach you in the circumstances you're in right now. You chose not to do it for whatever reason. Then I'm going to honor you by letting you stay right there as my love for you. And then those who want to change, that are sent to me or who are sent to you, then you know those are the ones that you can be your true self with the most. Because the way you are is what they need. They need you to be the way you are, letting the truth come through you the way it comes through you. So the people that are sent to you by spirit are people who the way you are is best for them. So they wouldn't be trying to change you every 5 minutes. The sure sign you're with someone that's not expressing love for you is they're always trying to change you. They're always correcting you. They're always trying to fix you. They're always trying to fix you. If you're constantly being corrected, if you're constantly being fixed, that person has to be coming from their ego if they're doing that, if you didn't ask them to do it. Because who says you're supposed to know what's best for me? Wow. See, of course, the truth teaches you stuff like this, man. So what happened? then you end up with people that are coming to you who you really enjoy teaching. That's why I tell people, look, if I'm not your cup of tea, if I bore you and you don't like it, don't come. You won't hurt my feelings because I'm not your teacher. That's not the same as saying sometimes you have questions and ideas about things you like to get clarity on. There's a difference between that and just a person basically going, there's nothing about, like yesterday with Abraham. Those people were full of attention. Attention is what you want. It doesn't necessarily mean that people have to be jumping up and down and screaming and shouting, but what happens when someone sees you as helpful to them is they're going to give you their attention. That's why I'm giving you my attention, because you are my teachers. You're blessings and you're treasures to me. I'm honored to be in your presence. You're a child of God. God trusted me enough to send God's child to my class so I can learn. And you too. Wow. Thank you, God. And all you're asking me to do today is when I see somebody who's making me mad or who's going off, you're just asking me to see it as a call for love, because he says, and why? Well, he says, well, we've already learned that fear and attack are inevitably associated. What does that mean? It means people attack what they're afraid of. So any attack, any war is all based on, I'm afraid of you, so I'm going to attack you. That's all we're seeing in these wars that are going on in the world right now. We're just seeing people who are afraid of each other, attacking each other. And if either one of them was to see it as a call for help, then the fear would go away. Because then it would be about how can we help each other in this situation. Both of us are afraid, we're attacking each other. How can we help each other? And then all the problems in the Mideast, and all the problems in Israel, and all the problems in Iran, and all the racial problems, and all the political problems, all of them would be gone overnight if people were to go, what we're looking at is fear, and because of that fear, there's attack, and if we could see it as a call for help. But see, I'm too busy focusing in on my own little personal world and my own little personal interest. It's all about my relationships and my job and my financial situation and my the one sign of an awakening being. Do you know what that is? One sign of an awakening being is they become more looking at things from a global perspective. They're thinking about all people eating, not just them. All people having clothing, not just them. All people having peace, not just them. So the Course, if there's a lesson in the Course in Miracles where he says, oh, God doesn't have it, is not at all concerned with your personal interests. That's not Holy Spirit's concern. Now remember, the Course was made for me. So you might feel like the Holy Spirit is all about your personal interest. It was telling me it's not about my personal interest. He says no conscious being really wants anything that everybody doesn't benefit through that. And the biggest benefit that you can give to everybody, paradoxically, is you being true to yourself and expressing your uniqueness. So Earl Purdy has to express the way Earl Purdy expressed. And what I would love to see you all do is to express yourself however you consider to be the most true to yourself as you can when you're around me, so that I can learn my lesson that I'm supposed to learn through you by you being true to yourself. And you won't bore me, because I can't be bored when you're being yourself. If you're being yourself, you'll be expressing something that's so beautiful and so unique, I couldn't be bored. And I would be experiencing something I couldn't see through anybody else in just that same way that I could experience it through you. So boring people, if you see people as boring, you're boring. Everybody clear about that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If you're looking for everybody else to excite you, you'll never be excited, because they're going to reflect your excitement and enthusiasm. So how many people in your life, when you think about being with them, does it excite you? If it doesn't at any level turn you on or excite you, you need to either change your mind or you need to let that go. Notice I said change your mind. That's always an option. Or you need to release it. That sounds harsh, but it's not. because you're going to create according to your consciousness. And if your consciousness is unenthusiastic, not excited, nothing is turning you on, nobody, then that's the reality you're going to make for yourself. So you owe it to yourself to be around the people that make you feel good, doing the job that makes you feel good, going places that make you feel good. You need to go toward feel good. And how do you get to feel good? I'll feel good when I start seeing whatever you do as a call for love and a call for help, because that's going to call love into my life, and it's also going to get you the help that you need. Are you listening to this, Earl? Yeah. I'm trying to, Earl. I'm trying to, Spirit, but I'm trying not to go to sleep. Because there's me, that's my ego that's listening to this guy talk, and then there's this guy that's talking. I swear to God. It's like there's Earl who's like, oh, okay, I had my own invisible notebook. And then there's this guy that's talking who's talking much saner than me. You realize that? Earl's ego is nothing like the person that you're listening to. Earl's ego has the same insecurities, fears, and doubts that your ego does. But Earl has recognized fear. And he wants to get out of it by remembering what I'm being told and wanting to be around people who will help him remember. Do not get in a special love relationship with someone who does not want to be a more conscious, loving being. Bodies you can be with somebody that has the body that you like and still has sense. You don't have to trade. You can have it all. Yeah. You can be around somebody that you think is physically attractive, however you interpret physical attractiveness, and that person can also have some sense and also be loving and kind. What I find is people usually do a trade-off where they'll put something that the person has physically first, whether it's the body or money or status or where they live or how they look, and they'll make that more important than the way that person thinks. And why not have it all? Why not have on every level, including the physical level, what you feel inspired and joyful to be around? So how do you do that? We just heard it. See attack as a call for help, and then the unreality of fear must dawn on you. I'm going to finish this paragraph. Because for me, I would rather listen to this all day than most of the stuff that people talk about. That's just the truth. I'll be straight up with you. I'd much rather spend a day listening to this than a day listening to all the victim consciousness complain what I wish was different, that has to be different for me to be happy, what's missing in my life, who I'm upset with, this latest thing I think I have to get in order to be happy, even though you know nothing you've ever got in your whole life is really completely satisfied you 100% and made you not want something different. It's like I'm tired of that. That's my past. I'm used to doing it. I want to focus on the solution with people who want to focus on the solution and who want to love each other, who want to be kind to each other. And so the Course says, the truth says, you have to ask for it though. So I'm asking for those people. And so the Course says, fear is what? A call for love. So here's the definition of fear that, and if you could remember this one, this definition is so great. It's so great. So what is fear? It's an unconscious recognition. What did you just say, Earl? When you're feeling fear, anger, lack, guilt, sickness, you are having an unconscious recognition of what has been denied. Okay, that's so simple. Let me see if I can say it the way I can hear it. I'm scared of you. What is my fear? I'm having an unconscious recognition that love is being denied between us right now. So whenever you feel fear, it's an unconscious recognition of love that is being denied in this moment. So when I feel fear, I'm going, love isn't happening right here. I'm recognizing love isn't happening right here. I'm angry with you. I'm afraid. So one day you'll get to the point that you walk up to your partner and you go, Right now, I'm having an unconscious recognition that the love between us is being denied right now. We're arguing and we're upset with each other right now. We are both experiencing an unconscious recognition that we're not giving each other love right now. I'm angry with you. I'm having an unconscious recognition that there's not peace between us right now. I'm having an unconscious recognition that peace is being denied between us right now. I'm having an unconscious recognition that peace is being denied. See, I'm angry. So instead of me saying I'm angry, then I go, I'm having an unconscious recognition that peace is being denied between me and you right now. We're fussing at each other. We're upset with each other right now. We're both having an unconscious recognition that we're not giving each other peace right now. I'm having an unconscious recognition that I don't feel peace with you right now. So notice that you're doing the same thing. You're focusing in on love and you're focusing in on peace. So what you're doing is saying peace is really here. Peace is really available, but we are denying it right now. That's the fear that we are feeling right now. And if you do that, then you'll find that it's saying right here, what's going to happen is the unreality of your fear is going to dawn on you. And then you'll be out of that so-called argument or separation so fast that it'll make your head swim. Now, who is it easier to do that with? Someone you're in a relationship with that does want to learn how to see it as a call for love, or someone you're in a relationship with that just wants to oppose you, fight you, debate with you, and not want to move in that direction?
The first.
The first is what you want. Who is it that people choose most of all so far?
Second.
The second one. Why is it that they're choosing that? Because they don't believe they deserve to have peace, so therefore they choose a partner or a friendship or a relationship that they keep themselves upset in all the time. So how do you get out of it? You go, I'm feeling afraid right now. I'm having an unconscious recognition that love is available, peace is available, but I'm denying it to myself right now. So I'm going to stop here before you sue me for course abuse. Because guess what? There wasn't anything the Spirit said to me that we couldn't do if we wanted to. There's nothing I said today that you couldn't do unless you had an imagined need to be angry still and to attack still. Then you just keep on doing it the way you've been doing it. But people who reach their limit, they're going to say, okay, Earl, I'm going to call it a call for love, whether I like it or not. Or even if I don't understand it, I'm going to say it's a call for love. That's the person that's going to get the miracle. That's the person that's going to see a miraculous healing happen. So it wasn't an accident that I heard this today. And I know it was an accident that you heard it today. So, do one little thing at the end. So I'm going to do the love offering right now for anybody that feels moved to share. I sure would appreciate it. You're totally innocent. Either way it goes. Let me pass this. Take me pass this around for me, brother. How many of you all would rather hear the truth than the illusion? How many of you would rather hear the truth, the love, instead of all the fear that we have a tendency to hear in the world right now?
I would.
Right. Do you know how you keep something in your life? The Course says the way that you keep something in your life is to appreciate it. It says that you don't have to worry about it. What you do not appreciate will leave. So all you have to do is keep on not appreciating, and it'll leave. And I took that to heart. That's why I try to make a point of letting people know how much I appreciate them. Because I found that people are much more likely to express their displeasure with you and what they're upset with you about than they are to say, I love you, I treasure you, you're really valuable to me. But do something I don't like, then I'll get you straight in a minute. So are you mostly sharing what you don't like with people, or are you sharing how much you appreciate them? So those of you who are online that might like to make a financial expression of appreciation, you can use Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, a square. All you need is my email address, earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com, earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. Also, I'm available for clarity sessions and astrology sessions and numerology sessions for those who like to have a one-on-one with me, so we can take whatever you think your issue is and we can bring the truth to that issue. Because there's nothing you're going through that there's not an answer to. There's nothing that you're going through there's not a solution to. There's nothing that you're going through that the Course and other wisdom texts is not giving you the way to get out of that situation. So we would take that time to focus exclusively on the things that you know you're ready to see differently and let that block go. And every week I experience and express total appreciation for those of you who are in this room. And I also put a call out to those who see themselves as drawn to me as their teacher and want to get a deeper understanding of the Course in Miracles by having me as a personal coach, working with you with that. And from what I can understand from the comments that I'm getting, there are people out there that want that. Because I love this material, and I love working with people with getting into this book, because the magic and the miracles happen when you study it. Everybody's not supposed to study it, but there are people who absolutely know they're supposed to study it. I'm here especially for you. Take advantage of my obsession. Take advantage of my obsession with this. I know, and I can say with total confidence, I can save you time. Spirit can save you time through me. Those who really want to get into this and the book, and you resonate with me. So if you don't resonate with me, I'm not the person, and my feelings will not be hurt. But I will go the extra mile beyond your wildest dreams with somebody who really want to work with me. And they are not there to fight me. They're there to work with me. It's a difference. It's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've learned over 50 years, ask for the people that love you and that are open to you and that trust you. And they're not coming to you with a bunch of suspicion. And you're not having to make them read or make them study or make them do anything. Because nobody had to make me do it. So I know that a true student is not somebody that anybody's got to make do it. But that doesn't mean that you might not need some guidance, some inspiration, some support. And you'll be excited about it. So don't go to classes that don't excite you, and don't have teachers in a path that doesn't excite you. Okay, that's the biggie. I'll say that again. Go toward what makes you feel good. Go toward who makes you feel good, that you feel inspired by. I never want people, like sometimes people will say to me, I'm going to come to your class to support you, and I go, please don't come to my class to support me. Come to my class because you believe that there's something that comes through me that's valuable to you that you want to use. Please don't, because they're the ones who you hate to see in the audience because they don't have any thrill. They're there because they think they should just to support you. They're not there because they feel like they really are benefiting through what you're saying. Don't you see the difference? Yeah. And it's a good thought. It's good for you to say, I want to be there to support you. I mean, I get the idea that that's cool. But please, that's not helpful. Because you're doing something you don't really want to do, but you think you should. And we've already learned that's what makes fear and conflict. So don't come to my class to give yourself more fear and conflict. I love you too much for that. So I'm not insulted if you don't. Because I don't want to go to a class I don't want to go to, that I don't feel inspired by, and I don't think that's a condemnation of the person. That's just not my interest. That's just not what moves me. And that's okay. So I'm going to always be an advocate for you doing what inspires you, turns you on, and moves you, because I want you to be happy. I want you to be happy. So mighty companions, those on the line, we're going to finish this up in the year 2045. I'm so thankful to you. And mighty companions online, what else I want to say? Oh yeah, don't forget that you can come here live and in person to be a part of this class at 1555 Race Street at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. You can come here live and you can also watch it online on Facebook. And I put all my classes on YouTube, so you can also watch all of my classes on YouTube also. I don't know if you all know it, but we've gone into the age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
For real. For real. So Aquarius is a much more humanitarian vibe. It's very different from Capricorn, which is very much can be about status and power more than anything else is power. And just trying to get as much as you can for yourself or being superb and organizing. But Aquarius is not going to work with 1% of the people having everything and 99% of the other people don't. But in the end, and this is what's going to be rough, is that everybody's where they are because that's where they choose to be, and it's for their own best interest, and they're learning the spiritual lessons that they need to learn, and they can still change it anytime they get ready. I'll say that again. So everybody in the world is exactly where they're choosing to be and where they need to be in order to learn their spiritual lessons, but they don't have to learn those lessons through pain. They always have the option to learn their lessons in a way that's more loving and more peaceful. Always is. And how do you do that? You know how you do it this week, which is to try to see everything that's happening. You'll get so many opportunities to do this, by the way. It won't be like there will be any lack of opportunity to call things a call for love, a call for help, a call for healing. But remember, every time you do that, then you're creating a state of mind that will create more love for you and more peace. That's why you're doing it. And the part of you that would try to keep you from doing it is called the ego. And your ego is a call for love, a call for help, and a call for healing. Your ego is a call for love, a call for help, and a call for healing. The part of you that would make you not want to do something that's simple is a call for love, a call for help, a call for God, and a call for healing. All right. Just another little light Earl Purdy class, right? Love y'all.